So yesterday we have seen how Shiva is Bhutalayaha. He is the Lord of the Bhutas. He is the embodiment of the Bhutas. And in saying that, we have also seen how each element, Bhuta, corresponds to particular chakras in our body, and how the embodiment, the vessel of these chakras is the body, and that itself is Shiva. And we have also seen how he is the Dhritiman, the balance of buddhi and karma, of doing and thinking. We have also seen how he is related to the marginalized communities, and he is also the elite communities too. Let's continue. हिरण्यबाहुश्च तथा गुहापालः प्रवेशिनाम् प्रकृष्टारिर्महाहर्षो जितकामो जितेन्द्रियः. Hiranyabahu. He has arms of Hiranya, of gold. So what it means is he has very spectacular of biceps and bhujas. It also means he has a very generous hand. He gives Hiranya through his hands. So he donates, very generous, is very philanthropic. Hiranya Bahu Tatha Guhapalaha. He takes care of the guhas. So guha is, now there are two meanings to this word. Guha actually means a cave, Gahvara Guha. It means one who takes care of caves, and by that they mean these sannyasis and these yatis who live in the Himalayas and in these caves. Thus, technically, they are taking care of it, just as we are taking care of our homes, so-called taking care of our homes. They are also residing in that and therefore taking care of it. Guha Palha. The second meaning actually is very interesting. Guha is the character in Ramayana, right? And who was the devout servant of Sri Rama. And Sri Rama protected him. He vowed to protect his tribe. So it also, Guha Palha is also a synonym, an epithet of Sri Rama. And Shiva, as has been previously at many times described, is God in all forms. And so Shiva itself is Rama too. Uh, and at one other place, there is a mention of Shiva taking the Dhanush, the bow and arrow, and destroying the Rakshasas. It comes in that Vak Suktam, where she says, the goddess herself is speaking, and she says, अहं रुद्राय धनुरातनोमि ब्रह्मद्विषे शरवे हन्तवा ऊ. So she says, I am the person who actually gives the bow and arrow to Rudra and directs him to, and also lays the arrow on the bow and directs him to shoot it so as to kill the Rakshasas. You see, Rudra in himself, Shiva in himself, is quite inactive. He doesn't prefer engagement. So it is Parvati, it is Shakti who always instigates and provokes him to actually take steps towards Loka Kalyana. So, in that sense, if we were to compare that with the Ramayana, in a way, indirectly, Sita is the one uh, who was the cause of the destruction of the Rakshasas, the evil clans. And we have seen at many places where, be it Karadushana, be it the Kakasura, Kakabhushundi, uh, be it in search of Sita, Rama killing all these demons of Bahu, Maricha, Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and their entire Rakshasa clan. So it is always the Shakti for which the Purusha has to take actions for. And even in Kannada also we say Honnu, Hennu, Mannu. We say where do all the quarrels, I mean, this is a very derogatory way, but there is some vein of truth to it, that where do battles or quarrels happen the most? it says in our daily lives, if we observe, it is for hennu. Hennu means women, money, and for land. And all these three they have a feminine character to it. We pray to Lakshmi for wealth and for lands and for spouses and be it either husbands or spouse. So it means both the things. And similarly, even Sri Ramakrishna would always talk of Kavini and Kanchana. So lust and money and greed. So in a way, Shakti, which is in her aspect as being Maya, and this is not to be misogynist by any sense, it just means uh, we develop and we center our lives around these three things: property, marriage, and so by marriage, I also include relationships there. And thirdly is wealth. So these are what our lives revolve around, and therefore, for these things, we also fight. We also engage in the activity. And again, if we look at the Kurukshetra, it is for property that there was a dispute. If you look at Ramayana, it is because of the woman, the dignity which must be protected of a woman. And similarly, even in the Mahabharata of Draupadi, and there was in Ramayana there was a quarrel, I mean a tussle between Ravana and Kubera for property for and wealth, and Ravana conquered the Swargas for wealth and power. So you see, all these three things are what Shakti represent, and she says when I am the one who instigates and lays the arrow on the dhanush of bow on the dhanush and give it to Rudra to actually destroy them. And in that sense, she is also the protector of the good people because Shishta Rakshana is the same as Dushta Shikshana. They go hand in hand. So he is the Guha Palaha. He is Sri Rama in that sense, where he is the protector of people who are who have taken refuge in him, who have surrendered to him. Praveshinam, excuse me. Praveshinam means of those who have, you know, who have pravesha. And what does it mean? So it means those who have little huts, little kutiras, they're called praveshins. And it means of people from humble beginnings, of lesser wealth, of lower economic background. They are also protected if they take refuge under Shiva. Prakrishtarihi. He is the Ari. He is the enemy of who? Of Prakrishta. Prakrishta means, I mean, Prakrishta means one who is unfathomably powerful. So he is the unfathomably powerful enemy. To, of course, it means to these people who are the evildoers. Mahaharshaha, the great joy, ecstasy itself is Shiva, and which is why he also does both two kinds of tandavas. He does the Ananda Tandava and he also does the Pralaya Tandava. So, as in his form of doing the Pralaya Tandava, he is destroying the world, and in Ananda Tandava, he participates in creation and the joy of part of engaging with the world. So he is both these forms of joy, the joy in destruction and a joy in creation and sustenance. Mahaharshaha, Jitakamaha. Now, to the point of Mahaharsha, I recollect one shloka from Shivananda Lahari, where it says, mm, भ्रश्यद्देवगणं त्रसन्मुनिगणं नश्यत् प्रपञ्चं लयं पश्यन् निर्भय एक एव विहरत्यानंद सांद्रो भवान. So it says, "O Shiva," I mean, Sri Adi Shankaracharya is describing Shiva and he is so thrilled and in awe of Shiva's courage, of Dhairya, his Sahasa, that when Trasyat Devaganam, Brashyat Devaganam, so when the entire troops of the Devatas are all scattering, I mean, are all running helter skelter. Bhrashya Devaganam, and where they have forsaken their positions and now they are just like normal humans looking after their survival and protecting themselves. Bhrashya Devaganam, Trasan Muniganam, even the sages, the so-called enlightened sages, they are trasyat. They have, I mean, they have been overtaken by a great fear, a terror, and they are all running away. Bhrashyat Devaganam Trasan Muniganam Nashyat Prapancham Layam, and the entire universe is undergoing the great deluge, the great collapse. And every galaxy, every planet, and every star is destructing, it is self destructing. And what do? Nashyat Prapancham Layam. Pashyan Nirbhaya Eka Eva Viharati Ananda Sandro Bhavan. And he's actually taunting Shiva in a very subtle way and saying, you are just looking at it. Pashyan Nirbhaya, and without fear. Even if the gods are scared, even if the sages are scared to death, and even if the entire universe, the cosmos before you is uh, by entropy, destructing itself, is in an utter chaos. You, O Shiva, are Pashyan, just looking at this, just watching as a Sakshi to all of this. Pashyan Nirbhaya, without fear. Eka Eva, and you are the only guy who is capable of doing this. Nirbhaya Eka Eva, and you're also in absolute solitude. Again, if it links to Kaivalya, solitude, the greatest solitude. You are in the greatest solitude. Eka Eva Viharati, and you are enjoying, you are in this harsha, you are in this reveling in this ecstasy of destruction. Ananda Sandraha, and you are so dense with Ananda, with again bliss and indescribable joy. Ananda Sandro Bhavan. So he's actually taunting when the entire universe itself is undergoing pralaya, you are so sadistically just looking and doing nothing about it and just reveling in your own joy. So this is called as Nindastuti, where you are seemingly insulting but also praising him. Um, this is one of the figures of speech, a technique used in Sanskrit poetry. And thus, it means to show how powerful Shiva is, that while the entire universe may be destroyed, he is indestructible. One. Secondly, when the gods and sages themselves, the enlightened sages themselves, are so fear stricken, you are Nirbhaya, you have no fear. Third, there are so many sages, so much plurality in the world, but you are alone, Eka Eva. And fourth, while all of them are running for their lives, they are all engaging in action. You are just sitting silently, immersed in the deepest depths of joy. So that shows how he is the Chinmayananda. He is the Swarupa of the witness consciousness and bliss. Sat Chit Ananda. And that I just wanted to make a mention of upon seeing this word Mahaharsha, the great joy he is. Jitakamaha, he is one who has won over kama, over desires, and the very famous story of him burning down and extinguishing kama, the fire of desire, is very well known. Jitakamaha. And once again, if we remember from yesterday's analogy, the the fire in the story emanated from where? From Shiva's third eye, the Agni Netra. And that exactly is also the place of the Ajna Chakra, thus representing that the fire of knowledge, of jnana, of wisdom, has burnt down desires. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, there is this shloka. One of you can just search it and share it. It says, Jnanagni Dagdha Karmani, and something. So the phrase there Shri Krishna uses is, whose actions and whose karma phalas, punya and papa, have been burned down by the fire of jnana. Jnanagni Dagdha Karmani. I think it may come in the fourth chapter. Jnanagni dagdha karmani kurvannapi na lipyate. And even for such a person who has burned down his own karmas, even if he or she were to perform action, it would not stick to him because now he is bhasmi bhuta. He has turned himself to ashes. He or she has turned herself to ashes. And so you can't burn ash further, right? You can't, uh, even if you have the reduced form of ash of vibhuti, you try to burn it, it will not undergo any change because it is already in the most entropic reduced form. And so that is how Shiva is, that he has burned down through his knowledge, through his understanding, all desires. Jita kamaha, jitendriyaha. He has won over his indriyas, therefore. So it is only the kama which causes us to be shaky in our organs, in our sense organs. So because we have desire for ice cream, my tongue will start watering. Because I have desire to watch reels on YouTube, my eyes will. I mean, sometimes it will also water because I've watched too much, but it will take my mind towards that. And because I have a desire for touch, I want to have touch of people, and because I have a desire to feel sated, I'll eat. And for thirst, similarly. So, if there are no desires, then there are no vikaras, there are no modifications happening in the sense organs. And so, he is also thus jitendriyaha. Therefore, this actually gives us a very nice hint as to how to actually accomplish indriya nigraha, how to actually bring control over senses. There's some message. Yasya sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varjitaha jnanagdi dagdha karmanam. Tamahav Pandit. I'm sorry. Tamahav Panditam Buddha. Thank you so much, Usha ma'am. Yes, yasya sarve samarambha, whose all initiations of action has gone away. Kama sankalpa varjitaha, which have been rid of any kama, of any desire, and of anything to be achieved. Sankalpa means something to achieve. So that whose all actions and initiations in the world are bereft of any personal or otherwise desires and any purpose, and one who has burned down his or her own karma through jnana, he is called as Pandita. And this is Sri Krishna himself saying that he will be called a Pandita. So it's not just a very learned man, but that is actually the Pandita. Thank you for sharing this. Yeah, so I was coming back to this Indriya Nigraha. So even again in the Bhagavad Gita, I think in the second or third chapter, he says, Indriya Nigraham Kuru. So that is the first thing that you must do, that Indriya Nigraha, control your senses. But again, the Adhyayas will continue because it is not as easy as told, as said, to do Indriya Nigraha. And this, actually, this phrase, Jita Kamo Jitendriyaha, once we win over our desires, only then can we win over our sense organs. So, because Indriyas, the vikaras happening in Indriyas, so me getting drawn towards particular sounds, my tongue seemingly asking for junk food, etc. All of these are actually consequences of the cause, which is kama. So, Shiva addressed the root cause. We say root cause analysis in corporate too, right? So, what was the root cause analysis of our fickleness? It was the Indriyas, but actually, not even the Indriyas, it was the Kama behind, playing behind all of this. So, Jita Kamaha. So, when we analyze ourselves and address the root cause, which is the Kama, which is the desires, we will be able to win over them, at least to some degree. And therefore, to that very degree, we will have also won over our Indriyas. So it is not about suppressing. And I mean, some people may think that Indriya Nigraha comes through suppression or repression. Actually, that is a very dangerous and bad thing. I mean, many doctors are here. They may correct me if I'm wrong. You may also add that actually suppression of any desires is considered very bad in the long term. So it is in fact, some would say, better to just engage and indulge and be done with it than to suppress it over a long period of time, which will manifest in very ugly manners. Yes, Usha ma'am, you have your hand raised.
I'd like to share a couple of points after the, I mean, in the end of the session on this.
Surely, surely. Surely.
Thank you.
So, in fact, even Sri Krishna also says, Nigraha kim karishyati. What will Prakritim yanti bhutani? All creatures will ultimately follow what Prakriti wills. So, what will Nigraha? What will suppression? Kim karishyati? What can even suppression do to any person? So it is not that Sri Krishna is saying suppress all your desires, shun all your desires and just go off into a cave. That is not true. So though he does say Indriya Nigraha, the actual method, as we can see here clearly, is first Jita Kama, and then that will lead eventually to Jitendriya. Next. गान्धारश्च सुवासश्च तपःसक्तो रतिर्नरः महागीतो महानृत्यो ह्यप्सरो गणसेवितः. So Gandhara is one who is the clan uh, of the Gandhara people, and it can also mean the Gandharvas. But yeah, some commentators say it is Gandhara means the people of the Gandhara region, what is today's Afghanistan. It was actually a part of United India earlier, of Bharata earlier. So Gandhara, he is actually the clan of those people because they were said to be Shiva worshippers actually, Gandharas. And Suvasascha, he has very great fragrance. Suvasaha. Mm. And this again takes us back to Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam in the Mahamrityunjaya mantra. Triambakam yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva bandhanan mrityor mukshi yamamritat. So there also there's a repeated motive of Shiva being a very fragrant man, a fragrant yogi, Suvasaha. That is also said to be a yogic consequence, you see, of a person who has reached the level of Sahasrara. Immediately there is a smell, a fragrance of flowers around him. And that also relates to why we call these chakras also as Padmas, as flowers, as lotuses. And I think I think you may be knowing of a person called Sri M, a very popular spiritual figure in today's times. And even in his books, he has mentioned in his own personal experience of when he saw the great Mahatar Babaji, the entire room would fill with a very jasmine-like fragrance. And whenever he met uh, great accomplished yogis too, they would leave their scent behind, which was very fruity, which was very flowery. And this has nothing to do with their actual body. They would not, of course, wear perfumes. I mean, where would they get perfumes to wear in Himalayas? And they would not adorn themselves with any artificial, I mean, like artificially, they would not wear any flowers too. But the innate scent comes, they say, from the earth element, because earth is said to be linked to fragrance. And the earth element, those who have conquered the Mooladhara, the base chakra, once it has reached the Sahasrara, the topmost chakra, and fallen back into the Mooladhara. So when it has done an entire circle, gone up and come down, which means basically he is the supremely accomplished yogi. Because most yogis, what happens is they just reach the topmost chakra, and then they leave the body. They get moksha or nirvana or okay, whatever. But to be able to control that power and bring it down for the sake of Lokanugraha, like the many avatars have done, they would come out of in and out of samadhi just like we would go in and out of a certain door of a room. They would always live on this edge between the two worlds, the spiritual and the material. But it takes a great much effort to stay at that edge. It is not really easy, they say. And so these great yogis, whose energies have first of all reached it's their greatest potential, and they have brought it down willingly for blessing others and for helping others on their path. They are said to be this most siddhas, and they have this very peculiar fragrance, which comes by through the Muladhara, the earth chakra. And that is also the reason why, Ganapati is also said to be the governing lord of the Muladhara chakra. And uh, even in all his vratas, pujas, and festivals, the vratas say he loves people who offer him all these luxurious nevedya, lots of dishes, fruits, smells, and garlands. And dhupa, the incense sticks, are what are the greatest way of serving Sri Ganesha. And that is also because, again, smell, fragrance comes from the earth element. And he is also the representation of the Muladhara chakra, therefore. I just wanted to make this point because Shiva is that Sugandhi, is that Suvasaha. Tapassaktaha, he loves doing tapasya. Uh, Ratihi, he is also the form of sexual intercourse. He is Rati, he is sex itself. He is, because this sex, this physical act of sex, is where two energies are coming together, right? Yes, there may be some joy which is produced out of it through orgasms, but that is the basal level of joy that any creature, any living creature actually experiences. So, though, I mean, Shiva, of course, is the greatest rebel, and he has nothing which is taboo to him. All things are his, and all things are not his too. Uh, Nothing is his too. So, he actually has no qualms about uh, you know, I mean, even the Stotra itself has no taboo in addressing this topic. It just says, yes, Shiva is sex. He is Ratihi. And Naraha is, he is humans. Mm, Mahagitaha, he is the form of the great Gita. Mahagitaha. Mahanrityaha, he also can sing very well and he can also dance supremely well. Mahanrityah. He Apsarogana Sevitaha. Apsaras, if you have heard the divine damsels who are said to be ever stuck in their 16 years of age, as the Shodashis, as they are said to be. Uh, and they have this great strength that as many number of partners they have, so young they get actually. So they actually don't lose their uh, vital fluids, they don't lose their virginity, but so they are the eternal virgin damsels who live in the Swargas, and they actually are the second realm of um, the servants to actually Devi. So here it's very unique that Shiva is actually said to be worshipped by the Apsaro Gana, by the troop, the gang of the Apsaras, but it's actually not so. It is because Devi is worshipped through these Apsaro Gana. And because Shiva is equal to Shakti, which is equal to Parvati, this epithet, this adjective has been used here. Similarly, we have seen that how he is described as Simha Vahana. So there is no Purana which actually says he actually rode a lion. But because Shiva equals Shakti and Shakti rode lion, he also has technically like he has the lion as his mount. Similarly, here he is worshipped through Shakti as in his form of being Shakti through the Apsaras. And it is said in the Saundarya too that the Apsaras get their strength, their uh, unchanging virginity and sexual energy only through the worship of Devi, of Kameshwari. And it is Kameshwari who actually bestows them with this unique power and beauty. Apsarogana sevitaha. महाकेतुर्महाधातुर्नैकसानुचरश्चलः आवेदनीय आदेशः सर्वगन्धसुखावहः. Mahaketuhu, he is the greatest flag. Now, Ketu literally means a flag, it means a symbol of victory. So, he has a great Ketu, it means he is the greatest symbol of victory. If you are able to conquer Shiva, it means you have conquered everything else. Mahaketuhu, Mahadhatuhu. He is the great element. Dhatu means the in metallurgy we say dhatu like an ore, an unpurified or the raw material is called the dhatu, which is used to make minerals and purify them into uh, other metals. So he is that Mahadhatu in the sense that he is the original raw material from which the universe came to be made. Mahadhatuhu Naika Sanu Charaschalaha. Naika means Aneka. He has many. He walks, Chara. He walks, he treks, he hikes in the valleys, Sanu, in the valleys, in many valleys. And he is also the Chala. He grazes all these places and he takes a stroll uh, in these valleys. You see, again, the metaphor of a valley is of a greater power flowing down, of coming down, right? The mountains, he always resides on the mountains, but he walks in the valleys, right? He sits in the mountains, on the summit of mountains, but then he walks in the valleys. He comes down, bringing the energy of enlightenment of his siddhis down to the plains. Sanu. Charaschalaha. Avedaniya Adeshaha. Avedaniya Adeshaha. He is also the one who is approached Avedaniya, who is beseeched. I mean, we all go to him to complain about our problems, right? So, Avedaniya means one who is approached to ask for favors, to address our grievances. So, he is called Avedaniya. We all have done this multiple times in our lives. When we are, when we are arthas, when we are hurt by the world, or when we are suffering, we complain and we seek comfort and solace from him. And similarly, when we have any desires in us, artharthi, when we want to achieve something, when we want to gain something, take ownership of something else, we again go to him. We request him. We put our requests and affidavits before him. And third is when we want to know something, jijnasu, when we want to actually understand the world, ourselves, and what God is. And we actually would have already sated our material desires, and we may have come to a certain level where we are no longer bothered by suffering, or we have made proper arrangements to keep suffering at bay. And once we have reached that level, we organically tend to think about philosophy of Vedanta, of higher things and more sublime things in life, for which again we also go to Shiva. So he is the Avedaniyaha, one who is approached for favors. Adeshaha, he is also the greatest commandment. Adeshaha. Again, Ajna Chakra, issuing commands. He is that commanding officer. Adeshaha. Sarva Gandha Sukha. Again, you see Gandha, Sarva Gandha. Again, fragrance. Sukha, he also carries with him not just all kinds of good fragrance, Sarvagandha, but also the sukhas, also the joys of all pleasures. So all forms of pleasure in the world, which we may experience either through sex, eating ice cream, good food, gluttony, or achieving sense of achievement, accomplishment, sense of relationship and belonging. All these little pleasures of the world are all brought to us by Shiva itself. So Sarva Gandha Sukha. Just as the wind carries fragrance from one place to another, Rudra, which is the lord of wind of Vayu, carries pleasures from one place to another. Sarvagandha Sukha. And by the way, in telling Shiva to be Vayu, that is carrying from one place to another, actually there is a very subtle um, wisdom there. That is that because he carries pleasure from one place to another, that is material pleasures, we must infer that pleasure of one person is somewhere the pain of another, because pleasure is moving from one place to another, therefore leaving that particular place and coming to another place. Now I just think of this in this way. See, for example, I like ice cream, right? It gives me pleasure. So to prepare ice cream, I mean, to buy ice cream, I go to a shop and I exchange money and I buy a good cone of ice cream. But to actually manufacture this ice cream, milk is required, and so there are two components. One is the labor. So I don't know which child labor was used to actually in some factory, unknown factory, to actually manufacture this. And secondly, even the cows, right, which provided the milk, we don't know in what situation they were in, and they may have been exploited. They may have been injected with hormones, and their udders would have been tortured for milk, etc. So, for me to have this very exotic pleasure of ice cream, which is very unnatural, some other place an unnatural, equal in magnitude sense of pain must have been created. So the pleasure of the cow and that child, I mean, this kid who had to work in this factory, they have been transported through this commodity to me. And similarly, after I eat this ice cream, I will also not, I mean, I may enjoy it for a moment, but then my gut bacteria will actually feast on this ice cream more. And then I will be down with a cold the very next day with cough. So that will be a pain for me, but it will be a sense of pleasure for my gut because it will revel and relish the fat, the casein protein in the ice cream, and so on and so forth. So you see, so this cycle of pain and pleasure is actually transporting from one place to another, and this is how Shiva also operates. He brings the pleasure from one place to another, thereby implying that it's a zero-sum game. The pleasure of one person is literally the pain in another person or in another entity. And as another example, you see, today we are moving towards great modernization of cities and urbanization. So we are building all these comfort buildings and skyscrapers, etc. So yes, that is pleasure to the residents here. But at the very same time, we have had to chop down things, trees, and pollute the environment, etc., which is a pain to other living creatures too. And this is the law of the universe, that pleasure and pain get simultaneously created. So the pain at one place will actually transform into the pleasure at another, and vice versa. So metaphorically, he is carrying that pleasure from one place to another. तोरणस्तारणो वातः परिधीपतिखेचरः संयोगो वर्धनो वृद्धो अतिवृद्धो गुणाधिकः. Torana, he is that uh, auspicious set of leaves that we put in front of our homes as a sign of festivity. So he is that sign of festivity. Shiva is festivity. Toranaha. Taranaha. He carries us across. He helps us swim across this samsara tarana. It comes from the word taraka. We say taraka mantra, that which helps us swim across the ocean, and not just the ocean of samsara, but also the ocean of karma. Uh, so, why do they say it is a karma pravaha? It is because, so if we were to imagine ourselves to be standing on the bank of a certain river, let's say Kaveri, and it is in a full-blown pravaha, it's in a full-blown cascade. It will be impossible for us to actually cross it. Even if we have the greatest of technologies, greatest of boats, ships, whatever, it is very difficult for us to cross it. And similarly, when that very same river at another point in time becomes very calm, very serene, and very shallow, we'll be able to easily cross it even without the help of any special instruments. So this karma and samsara is said to be this river uh, which has different states of flow. Sometimes when the river is quite calm, we will feel we may not require a boat to actually cross. So we actually cross those hurdles very easy, quite easily, and we pat ourselves on our back, thinking it was only our self effort which helped us cross across. However, when it is in a full-blown cascade or a moderate cascade, we take the help of a boatman to help us cross it. In a very similar manner, the Shastras say that the karma pravaha is so great and so uncertain that it is always better to have a boatman and a boat with you so that you can wade through the waters in any circumstance. Yes, there may be some extreme circumstances when, even despite having a boatman and a boat, it may not work. You may not be able to cross. But at most other situations, it's always wise to befriend a boatman and have a boat ready. And to procure a boat, the Shastras say it is self effort. So, this is what we call as punya. Through good service and goodwill and good thoughts, we accumulate punya, which becomes the boat, and the boatman, of course, is the guru. So it's wise to have a guru. Yes, anybody can swim across the river, but it will be very perilous. And the responsibility will all be entirely on one person's shoulder and one head only. If a person is capable of doing that and tolerating that, the Shastras do make way for such a person to go ahead and independently cross. And so they say it is wise to have this guru, which of course is Shiva in this case, as the Tarana, one who helps us cross. Taranaha. And the boat also, which is Punya. Torana, and therefore, this is also a very significant metaphor because we must, I mean, they are trying to hint to us that we must not become dejected just because we have done good things in life and only bad things are happening to us. Because then, this metaphor we must bring to our minds that maybe the karma pravaha is too harsh, it is too very dense and powerful and severe right now. Therefore, it is good that I have had a boat with me, of a punya boat, and it is good that I served a guru. I did all things that he or she wanted, and I have a guru with me. But it is not all in vain. The Shastras are only just advising us, please wait, let this karma pravaha diminish, recede, and then all that you have done will definitely come in use for crossing over. This is a very nice example. In fact, this was first told, and I came across this example by Swami Vidushekara Bharati of Sringeri. So, all due credits to him for this story and the example. Toranaha, Taranaha, Vataha, again wind. He is wind, Vataha. Paridhi. Paridhi means one who has a complete intelligence. Paridhi means whose intelligence and awareness is so holistic. It is so complete, all encompassing, and all observing too. So he has thought about a certain thing from all perspectives. So paridhi, dhi means buddhi, He said dhiyo yonah prachodayat. So dhi means buddhi, intelligence, awareness. Paridhi, paritaha dhi yasya asti. One who has all-rounded intelligence. It is not the intelligence which we get by cracking exams and passing through marks. It is that intelligence, that intuition, which is built over the years, supported by wisdom and honed through practice and um, engaging with the world. It's not just information. That intelligence which is born through a holistic understanding of stuff. Patikhecharaha. He is the one who walks in the sky. K means in the sky, in space. He walks. He is the Lord Pati who walks in the sky, in space. Thus implying that Shiva is some kind of a field of energy for being able to travel in vacuum of space. You see, nobody can actually walk in space. It makes no sense because there's nothing solid to walk upon. It means one who moves through space, one who moves in the akasha, one who moves between planets and galaxies as energy fields. Patikhecharaha. So it is uh, not always this personal God that we are describing as Shiva. Of course, that is also Shiva. But these adjectives, these epithets, these namas will help us bring to our mind back that Shiva is not just a person. It is also the abstract energy of the universe, the creative energy of the universe. Patikhecharaha. Samyogaha. He is the union. Samyogaha. Thus signifying the union between Jiva and Ishvara. Samyogaha. Vardhanaha. One who helps grow, one who helps all vegetation, agriculture to 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 nourish people, to help us all living creatures also grow in their own evolutionary trajectories. Like a father, like he nourishes us and he allows us to grow. Vardhanaha. Vriddhaha. He himself is the vast. He has himself reached the plateau of growth. He has himself reached the summit of growth, all growth and expansion. Vriddhaha. Ati Vriddhaha. Again, he has grown even beyond all boundaries. Ati Vriddhaha. He has transgressed all limitations, all laws, and grown to the ultimate extent. Ati Vriddhaha. Gunadhikaha. He has all the sadgunas in him flourishing. He has all um, the greatest of virtues in him which are flourishing. It also means one who is beyond adhika, one who has transcended the gunas, the three gunas, which is sattva, rajas, and tamas. He who is the Lord over the gunas, gunadhikaha. Just two more verses and we can close. Nitya Atma Sahayascha Deva Surapatih Patihi Yuktascha Yukta Bahuscha Devo Divi Suparvanaha. Nityaha, he is eternal. Sanatanaha, he is eternal. And by that, the technical definition is that which does not change in the three segments of time, which is the past, present, and future, which is the technical definition of Nitya. Atma Sahayaha cha. He who solely depends on himself, it or itself for help. Atma Sahayaha. He is completely self-sufficient. He is completely self-dependent. And by that logic, actually, in even us as humans, when we try to be self-dependent and self-sufficient, the masculinity in us rises, it flourishes. So that, of course, is also another takeaway from this nama. Atma Sahaya is Rudra, and Rudra is masculine energy. So if we need to develop our masculine energy, we must try to be more self-dependent. Atma Sahaya. Atma Sahaya. And again, this is not to do with males or females. All creatures, even transgenders for that matter, and I'm not saying they're a creature. Of course, all of us are also creatures. But if you need to increase the Shivatva, the Rudratva in us, it is through Atma Sahaya, by being self-sufficient, self-dependent. And this self-dependence is to a great extent. You see, it's not just about being able to earn one's own bread. There is also Atma Sahaya. The next level to it is not asking for help from others for any personal favors or gains, trying to achieve it on our own. That is the second level. The third level is, let's say I'm down with some illness. Maybe it may be chronic or it may be acute, whatever. These yogis are said to have said to have healed themselves without the need for external medicine or external interference. So that is also the third level or the more subtler form of Atma Sahaya. Again, so on and so forth. When you become completely like the Jain monks, right? They do ahimsa to such an extent that they even think eating food would be a form of violence, because that is the death of a certain number of living cells. So they become completely self-dependent, where they extinguish the need for, uh, for water and food itself. Thus, they have become self-dependent and self-sufficient in that manner also. Yes, that may be pushing the boundaries to its extremity, but yes, this is the spectrum of being self-sufficient. Atma Sahaya. And the greatest the help that we can do to ourselves is to be completely in Ananda. And that, anyhow, only we can do. Nobody else can actually bring it to us. Not even gurus or Shiva himself can bestow it to us. It is our own responsibility. Atma Sahaya cha Devasura Patihi, the Lord of both the Devas and the Asuras, of the gods and the demons, of the good and the evil, of uh, subtler powers and material powers, of spiritual powers and material powers. Devasura Patihi, Patihi, he is also the form of a husband, of a spouse, of a caretaker. Patihi, Yuktaha cha, he is always in yoga, which is what it means to be a yukta. Yuktaha cha, he is always drenched in the waters of Ananda in his samadhi. So he is yukta. Yuktaha cha, yukta bahuscha. He has a very appropriate length of his arms. Bahu, arms. Yukta bahu means one who has proportionate arms. And what it means is, now we have heard this term ajanu bahu, right? It actually means one whose arms are so long and slender that they would reach the tip of their hand, which is the fingers, would actually reach the knee. Janu, ajanu bahu. It means he was so well trained in physical combat, and he was probably doing gym in those days too. So he has a very appropriate, nice, pleasant looking bahu, yukta bahu, uh, thus signifying his capability to physically engage in combats and also shoulder responsibilities. Yukta bahu cha devaha, he is God. Divi suparvanaha, he is the Garuda, he is the Pakshi which is flying in the sky. Suparvanaha is Garuda, one who has good wings. It literally means one who has beautiful wings. Suparvanaha, which means Garuda or Pakshis, any birds which are flying about in the sky, in Divi. Thus, Shiva is not just animals, he is Nara, he is humans, he is Vriksha, he is vegetation, he is also the Pakshis, he is also the birds. I think we may have a few more inputs today, so let's stop here at 120, 121 onwards. Ashadha will continue from tomorrow. Astu, any inputs? Somebody wanted to, Usha ma'am wanted to add something. Please feel free. Any of you can also
Yes.
join in.
Yeah. Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. This is regarding RRCA. It is a relentless root cause analysis. And there is one word used only, karma is the root of all this one. If we look into it, karma is one part of the Arishad Vargas. So, it's like, all the six Arishad Vargas are root of the destruction, either self or the entire clan or with this one. The country or a nation or a humankind also. And another part is like man and buddhi. One of a known person, like a elderly person was speaking in one of the shop. He was quite wise and he was discussing on man and buddhi, karma, jnana, vijnana, and also the characters or attributes of a real guru. But I'm just trying to mention only about a Buddhi and one where Santa Tukaram was going along with his son particular. I think he was going from one village to another and happened to see a Vaishya, quite beautiful enough, and she was walking on the other path. And Santa Tukaram's son said, since Baba, my mind is going behind her. Then Tukaram says, let the mind go, because one is for why this one, tattva. So you give control to your buddhi, because wise give the judgment, decision to buddhi, which is better. So go as per buddhi, let the man go. So that is one part. And coming to the old man, it reminds of a Purandaradasa's one Kruti, Ambika Naninda Nambide. And in the middle of it, it says, Aru Teriya Nod Ambika, Adarivadisi, that is Ambika. So he is the saver for all of us. And samsara is like a sagara. And it's full of whirlpool. And we don't know where to go, how depth it is, and what are the hurdles and the dangers it just we have to face. And coming to Guru, also there is one more Kruti. Guruvira same Purandaradas solli Guruvira Gulamanaguatanaka Dorayatanna. So these three things I just wanted to share.
Ma'am, you also wanted to say something about that suppressing you had told.
Yeah, this is about a man and a buddhi. And all the attributes, all the thanks goes to a lot of people who has imparted a lot of information and then guided me. And suppressing of a buddhi, okay, if we come to that part of it, we know that like this in Atma is Akasha Tattva and buddhi, I'm not sure about which Tattva it is. Man is of this one, Vayu Tattva. So it is Chanchala. It is like wavering like the air or Vayu. So it is let it go. And other part, what you explained in one of the session is a spoke buddhi is like in a center point, and all the Indriyas are different spokes and this one. So there is a one more very nice depiction based on the this one only is Indriyas are like they're actually like chariots, this one horses, and the one who is controlling is like kind of man or something like that. But the direction giver is actually a buddhi. Somewhere I saw that picture. I'll try to find in this one. So let the man go, but you don't become a slave of a mind. But you give this one. It is very definitely it is because we are all based on the Pancha Bhutas, and also we are part of the Maya that he has created. So in such cases, he has given a mind to us, unlike the animals. So Bhagwan has given all the freedom, but at the same time, he has given a buddhi so that we follow a certain this one, uh, norms, and then judge whether it is right or not based on the consequences. That is definitely karma, what he has created. That and also he seek uh, the wise people some guidance so that what that thought or action will lead to what consequences. So based on that, for an example, what you gave, like ice cream. Definitely, we get tempted to ice cream, but at the same time, the man says, and actually, Indriyas are not that craving or something like that. It is a man which pushes us to start eating it. But at the same time, we have to, okay, just hold on, think about it. So that is the time we give control to the buddhi. And then at that time, there are three other things will also work upon us. The chitta, that is the impression which we already have. Okay, what happened at that time and previously what happened? And chitta also works in such a way that previously we had some kind of bad experience with a certain kind of you know kind of region or a language people or something like that. There is it's very double edged one, which is a chitta, but not always go by the chitta. Again, all this collected information, buddhi will take all 360 direction of decision making. So there's no need to control mind. Let it go, but act as per the buddhi.
That's
So that's how you just you don't become a slave of your indriyas. I mean, indriyas, Papa, they have not done anything, but it's a man which is actually chanjala. Man at the same time is also can be used for achieving a lot of good things, but that should be directed by just like in if you take Kurukshetra Yuddha, the director was actually not Arjuna, though he was controlling, Krishna was controlling the chariot. He was a charioteer. But actually speaking, we should be a director, we should be a rider, and the driver should be this one, man. So the auto driver has to listen to us and drive to different directions based on us different engine parts of the auto, which is engine parts of the auto is like different areas. That simile or example we can take. We should not allow the auto driver to drive us or take us to some direction. But our mind, our judgment, not our mind, our buddhi, our wisdom has to take a direction. So on top of our middle of it is the spoke and the central point is the Atman. Atman. The buddhi has to be aligned with Atman and Dharma. Then use the mind to direct the Indriyas. This is how we can relate to it.
This was really, really interesting. Very humbled by this explanation. Thank you, ma'am. It was really nice.
Yeah. One more this one is there, site is there which actually gives these four spokes of mind. Chitta, Manas, Buddhi, and one more is there, Aham. Yeah. Fourth thing. Ego, or otherwise Aham is like, Aham Brahmasmi, that Aham is different, and this Aham. Because most of the thing is around Aham only. So in such cases, how to use the Buddhi? And not allowing these three, Chitta, Manas, and Aham to supersede the judgment or a wisdom. If you say okay, I'll share that link in the group.
Absolutely. Please do. Please do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Very nicely explained. Very, very, lot of things to learn. Very informative. Thank you.
All the I just say that all the this one goes to the people who are guided me for almost 24 years.
Right, right.
Then
Dhanyavad. Yes, Pramodini ma'am, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I just no, just to add few things, like when I listen to you, a lot of things come to mind. So if I remember, some of them I would like to share. So few things like Usharaniji was saying, yeah, I read Bhagavad Gita. So when you were talking, the things came to my mind were like Udakesha, Arjuna, who conquered sleep. And then Hrishikesha. Hrishikesha is Krishna who conquered all the like Indriyas. And just like I was listening to saw a video the other day where it says Indrajit, in Ramayana. He conquered the Indriyas, five Panchendriya, Jnanendriyas and five Karmendriyas. So the Maharshi came, Agastya Muni, I think, came and he tells Rama that, your brother, like Lakshmana is a greater warrior than you. And then Rama was like, how come? And he said, so he did not eat for 14 years. He did not sleep for 14 years. And he said, how come? When we were gathering food, I was giving his care. We made it 3 parts. And he said, no, but he never ate. And then he actually goes and asks Lakshmana, like, how did you conquer? He said, yeah, he one of his, I think, gurus, Vishwamitra, or, whoever, he got the boon from him that he would not feel hunger for 14 years during this whole entire process, Vanavasa and then till and then also he said, when Nidra Devi came, I threw my, bow and arrows at her. And she said, okay, she will not bother me for 14 years. Until, once when he was getting Raja Abhisheka, that's when he was holding the chapter. And then that's when Nidra conquered him. And then he also said that he never saw a spree. And then he said that you were there, like Sita was there. And then he said, Bhaiya, remember when they were asking me for her, Abharana, I only knew what she was, had on her feet. Because I did not look beyond her feet. And, so that's how he does. Then he said, and Indrajit is such a great warrior who conquered Indriyas, and Lakshmana with all these qualities, he was able to conquer him. So he is a greater warrior than him. And he said, I was giving you all the food. What happened? So to continue that. So he said, I did not eat them. And so they go and look in the Parnashala, and all the fruit were accounted for all those years, except for 7 days. Then he tells them to how, because when Sita was abducted, we did not eat. When we were doing the Bharat, building that, we did not eat that day. And when we were fighting, so everything was accounted for except for those 7 days when none of them ate. So I'm saying, so for Indrajit, that's it just Grudakesha, Hrishikesha, all these conquering the Indriyas, as Usharaniji was saying, yeah, it's a Chitta Buddhi Mano Ahamkara. Aham is not Aham is Ahamkara, like the ego. Like she was saying, these are the four which are in control. And as I was saying, Panchendriya and Karmendriya. And then when you were saying Tarani, I was thinking of Taranti. Taranti is swimming to cross over or across. And how we remember after death we cross Vaitaran. So that was also coming to my mind, when we listen to all these things, so many things from tidbits from here and there, so many things, makes more sense, and they're all interrelated, interconnected. I don't know, I had a few more other thoughts, but if anybody has a question, I'll let them speak. But I don't know if you saw my post from yesterday. There was a video about the avatars of Rudra, Shiva. I had a few questions about that though.
Please do ask, ma'am. Please do ask. It was really nice.
He knows, we have been great friends for a long time. So for the last 6 months or so, I have been actually learning Vedanta from Sringeri. They selected a few people from US and Europe and all that. So I was fortunate enough to be part of that. So I've been learning so many things. I've been learning Samskritam for the last 3 years here online, all these are online. So recently I was listening to this. So I just wanted to share this. lokas, Varuna. Second one is Amshamshavatara. Little part of Amsha, like they say Prajapati, Daksha Prajapati, Maricha, all those are little Amsha of Amsha. And the third one is Kalavatara. They say like Shodasha Kala, 16 Kalas. These are, they say, they were giving examples of like Kapila Muni and all those. Even Kurmavatara, Varahavatara, or Kalavatara. And then they say actually describe these 16 those 1 to 8 are Amsha and Amshamshavatara. Out of the say 16 kalas, then 9 to 15 Kalavatara, 16 is Purnavatara. And the fourth one, like first one is Amshavatara, second is Amshamshavatara, third is Kalavatara, and fourth is Aveshavatara, like like Parashurama, Virabhadra, all those. And then the last one is Purnavatara, like Rama, Krishna, all those things. So, I mean, as we know, Hanuman is avatar of, Shiva. So I didn't know the other parts, but like I said, I'm learning these. Like there is so much to learn. So I wanted to share that there are 5 types of avatars.
Can you please repeat those avatars once again, ma'am?
First one is Amsha Avatara. Just a little Amsha of Bhagwan is there. And the examples, like I was saying, the examples they gave were like even Brahma, Amma, Indra, Varuna, Agni. All those are Amshavatara.
Okay. Next is?
Second is Amshavatara.
Okay. Any examples for that?
And the example of Prajapati. That's what they gave. Like Daksha Prajapati, Maricha, whoever, all the Prajapatis who came from Brahma, Brahma created all those. So Prajapati. Amshavatara.
Yes. Next.
The third one is Kalavatara.
Kalavatara. Okay.
Kalavatara, they say Kapila Muni. They also give Kurmavatara, Varahavatara, Matsyavatara, all those are Kalavatara.
Okay.
Then the fourth one is Aveshavatara.
So Avesha meaning rage, like anger?
Exactly, Avesha. Anger, rage. Telugu also we say Avesha. Yeah, Aveshavatara. Like a Bhargava. They also gave another example like a Prithu Maharaja. He says when all these Rakshasas, were being so atrocious that the Bhudevi hides all the resources inside. Then Vishnu enters the Prithu Maharaja, and the earth becomes like a cow, and he milks all the resources. So Vishnu enters Prithu as Kalavatar just for that time being, to help him milk the earth. So that's they say Prithu also temporary. And then also Parashurama, they say Parashurama at the wedding of Sita and Rama, he gives his the part of Dhanush to Rama, and like a Tejas comes out of Parashurama, enters Rama. That's when his avatar finishes, and then he goes on to Bharata, Bharata. He goes on to teach all these, Bhishma, Drona, Karna, everybody as a guru. That's when after his avatar ends, and the final one is Purna Avatar, 5th one.
Okay.
That is Rama, even Nrsimha. And the way they beautifully explain Nrsimha means not like only, they were saying Jiva and Brahma, Nara and, Jiva Brahma, Ekatam. So these are the 5, but maybe check the video later and let me know, let us know how, because I posted a video last night, which is talking about avatars of Shiva. So
Right.
I haven't done any research on that yet, but just say, yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you. We will definitely watch that and get back. Thank you. Thank you for all this information. Thanks. Yes, Bhavani ma'am, please go ahead. You're on mute. No.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Ari. Yes, go on.
Namaste, Pranam Guru. Yeah, just one small point. I just wanted to mention that this Pati Khecharaha, that the word that you have explained, sir, that Khechara is the space. So can this Pati Khechara be interpreted as the space in what that space? He is the Lord of the space in the heart, because the heart, when we pray to Lord Shiva, it is in that space that we are often asked to pray to meditate on him in the heart. So this I was actually prompted to say, because I just read very short while back in the Chandogya Upanishad that the space of Brahman, that location of Brahman is also supposed to be the heart. I mean, that's where happiness and the space, or the ka, that ka represents Brahman, which is not the physical. If you remove this physical space and this space that is, you can take it as consciousness. That's that region. He is the Lord of that. So can it be interpreted like that?
Absolutely. That's really a nice, correct. I mean, it seems to make more sense, correct. To be the Lord of the space of the heart, correct. Therefore, meaning he is consciousness, correct. It's wonderful.
Yes. That's right.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Nothing? Okay. Anybody else wants to add? Namaste. Go on.
Whenever I hear the word Ajahn, it reminds me of a medical syndrome called Marfan syndrome. And I can't remember everything about it because it was 56 years ago or whatever I learned. And maybe I need to sort of look it up. And there the person's arm reaches the knee. And I can't remember what the other features are. Marfan syndrome. He has got a heart condition.
Is it actually a physical condition?
Yeah, Marfan syndrome.
Marfan's.
Marphan.
I see. Okay.
If I may add, it's Marfan. Yeah, Marfan syndrome. But I don't think that
It is something like that. It was about 16 years ago.
that's okay. That's okay. Yeah.
I never had to use that ever again.
Yeah.
Either it is Marfan, as you say, or
Yes. That's how I learned in medical school.
Yeah.
May I jump in?
Please do.
Yeah, this relates to 2 points as a witness. If you go to Tirupati, Balaji, Venkateshwara, he is actually of a height 8 or 9 feet. Okay, and it is believed that it is his original form. So in those years, they were so tall, and you can see the shoulders were very wide, and also hand. If you see his one of the hand, I think left hand shows his leg. That is come to my Sharana, Pada Charana. And all in Raghu Vamsham of Kalidas, there is a Raghu Varnana. Raghu or Manu, no, I think Raghu or Manu Varnana. There also there is a mention of how long their hand used to be. Whenever we were just, very young students, when our teacher used to explain, then we used to imagine and laugh the same way. There also it says that their hands used to touch their knees. So these were the actually formed in those era. And there's a written confirmation in the Raghuvamsha of Kalidas.
I see. Okay.
Yes, I don't remember they describe how those kings were.
Yeah, if I may, sorry, I was going to say something but was interrupted. So Marfan syndrome is a medical condition, yes, but they have so many other problems, like the doctor was mentioning, heart problem, eyes, and all that. I don't think this is that. If you know about Rama, Ajanu Bahu Maravinda Dalaya Paksha, Rama. So that's how they described him. Like Mushaji is saying, yes, they were very tall, like 10, 11, 12 feet those days. And actually, very, well built. And of course, the Kshatriya, they were practicing all their, like Yuddha skills. And then, yeah, that's what, like you said, Ajanu Bahu means the Bahu are so long, the arms, they reach up to the knees. And it's not any medical condition or physical abnormality. That was how they were actually built. It is described everywhere. Yes, in all these older, if you read our Puranas, most of our, Bhagwans, I mean, even regular people, remember that's how evolution, it says we have become shorter and shorter over the, thousands of years. But yeah, it is described in a lot of places. That's how they are. That is a natural, especially Rama. It is there everywhere. It is, how he is, how tall and how long his arms were, and that's how they're able to, wield wield the bow and arrow, and yeah, like how Savyasati. It is described in all those places, and I mean, in my humble opinion, I don't think it has anything to do with any physical, deformity or medical condition. That's how they were built.
No, well, what I was trying to say was, it just reminds me every time I hear Ajahn Bahu, that syndrome comes into my mind. I know that they had got some heart conditions and, as you mentioned, eye and whatever, but it's just a mental association with that and Ajahn Bahu, basically.
Sure. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Sometimes that's how we make connections, That's how I remember 25 years ago in medical school. We make a lot of connections, how they say, I don't know, in Telugu, Bandagutti means some stone kind of, whatever. Yeah, something to make us, I totally understand. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you for all the inputs. Let's wrap up. We shall meet tomorrow, same time, with the next set of verses. Until then, goodbye. Namah Shivaya.
Namah Shivaya.
Namah Shivaya. ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.